Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I am here just about, as always, with my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, it's the morning after the night before. I've got whatever variant of COVID is going about that isn't COVID. Dan, less about me. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It was chaos yesterday. Chaos. I went out to watch the game, right, mate? Went out to watch the game. Obviously, it was a 5:30. And I didn't think about the timing of the match, right? So obviously, for those of you who don't know, I've moved up to Manchester now. I'm no longer based in Birmingham, so I'm up in Manchester. And in case anybody didn't know, there was quite a significant football match happening in Manchester yesterday that I forgot. I watched the game, just didn't appreciate the fact that it was taking part in the same city as me. So I went out and I'm like, I walked into Manchester trying to find a bar that was showing the game, found a bar that was showing the game, sat down. All of a sudden, this swarm of Man United fans comes in, and literally I can't even hear myself think they're all singing Viva Ronaldo, obviously, and rightly so. Then about 10 minutes later, a swarm of Man City fans come in. So they've just obviously beaten Leicester.
Yeah.
The swarm of Man City fans come in. And then, so this place is like absolutely mad. There's like Man United fans in there, Man City fans in there. And a little bit after that, a load of Bradford fans come in. They've just lost 90th minute at Salford. So they're all absolutely seething. So they've got a load of Bradford fans coming in. And a few minutes after that, a load of Doncaster fans come in who have just lost to Wigan. And then after that, we had Bolton fans coming in because they just put 5 past Ipswich. Honestly, mate, I was in there. It was absolutely crazy. It was like some sort of convention. All I was trying to do was watch the game, but I did manage to sit down and catch. Unfortunately, I suppose the 90 minutes didn't get quite the result that we wanted to, but there was a great atmosphere in that bar, mate. It was.
I'm almost jealous.
Quite the experience, mate. Honestly.
Yeah, wow. But the game, Dan, 3-0. First things first. And I think, even Thomas Tuchel admitted this in his post-match interview. Really flattering scoreline. It was great to see he was extremely complimentary of Villa's system, how he performed, especially in the first half. Villa were undoubtedly the better team. John McGinn again echoing the same sentiments. It's really weird, Dan, because on a slightly sort of different note, more of a sort of analysis and kind of discussion note, that we like to, of course, do on the channel. Listening, and I'm not sure if you'd have been able to hear this over the ruckus in the pub, Dan, but listening to Darren Bent and Graham Souness actually have to analyse a Villa performance without mentioning Joe is quite something, because these guys, they can't hide behind any sort of just bullshit stats, whatever, pull up most fouls, all that kind of crap that we were used to hearing. It was always about him. It was a proper team performance yesterday. And it was actually really refreshing, for one, to hear Villa as a whole get praised for an effective performance. Of course, it didn't get the desired result that we were looking for, but it was actually nice to kind of see, maybe borderline offensive as well, but to see the likes of Souness and Bent again, as I say, to praise Villa and actually, kind of sort of go a bit deeper than they usually do and discuss, things such as, John McGinn's marauding performance, things like that, for the past sort of 3 years just haven't really been discussed or sort of analysed by the mainstream on TV, Dan, whenever Villa have played.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, that you're right in saying that there were a lot of positives to take out from the game, not just from the coverage. I mean, just like you're like stating that Tuchel was very complimentary of the side and stuff like that. It was nice to see. Apparently, Dean shared quite a nice moment with Lukaku after the game. And what a player. Wow. Sweet Jesus. My God. He is honestly an absolute freak of nature, mate. I'm so happy that not only is he back in the Premier League, I wish he wasn't scoring the goals against Villa, but it's great to see. It's clear to see what it means to him to play for Chelsea, to finally get, his first Chelsea goals at Stamford Bridge. I may imagine for the neutrals, it made for quite a nice moment. But there was that Romelu Lukaku felt like the difference yesterday. Like if we had Romelu Lukaku, he put away so many of those chances that we created and we win 3-0. It's just because they have a player of that ilk that it felt like it decided the game. And it's we created so many chances of our own. And in a way, it's difficult when you come out away from a game out like that, isn't it, mate? Because it almost, if we've been to Stamford Bridge, mate, on many an occasion and come away deserving to lose 3-0. Haven't laid a finger on them. We've just been totally outclassed, and you come away losing 3-0, and you went, well, that was bollocks, and you move on. You think, yeah, totally. But when you lose 3-0 and you know that it shouldn't have been, you can take a lot of positive from it. But it's so much harder to swallow, isn't it? Because especially at half time when we went in 1-0 down, I couldn't believe it. How we didn't score at least one of the chances we created, particularly that Watkins one where he went around Mendy. It was boxed by Silva, which I was screaming was handball. Wasn't a handball. It was just fantastic defending in the end. So many chances that
really good positioning.
Difficult to swallow in a way, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all, but Romelu Lukaku, he wasn't in this game. And that's the crazy thing. He scored 2 goals. The second of the 2 being the much better finish, absolutely wonderful, right in the top corner, just a really killers late on. But Lukaku, he weren't in this game, and I guess that is a credit to his game and how he's adapted. I think he was saying in the sort of post-match interview that actually going to Italy, playing for Inter, where of course we all know Italian football is not as open and as expansive as the Premier League. He was getting a lot less chances, so he had to be a lot more clinical. He was operating in a slightly different position as well, kind of just playing off Lautaro Martinez for Inter. So again, the kind of positions he was occupying would dictate the amount of chances he had. But he made the point that if some games he'd only get one chance, he had to score from that one chance, and we saw it last night. And it's frustrating because I think to go. We'll talk about the first goal, Dan, because first of all, Villa matching the system, it worked really well for me. I feel like it allowed Villa to be really competitive in this game. And more often than not, Target Cash did actually manage to pin back Hudson-Odoi and Alonso, which is a massive, massive credit for me. Done the jobs as well as they could have done. Hudson-Odoi, obviously not your traditional sort of wing back, full back, however you want to look at it, is very effective in that position. We've seen when sort of Tuchel first came in, he had a nice little run in the team in that position and has looked decent. And again, with a player like Marcos Alonso, you know what you're getting, fantastic fullback. But I think the unfamiliarity with the system, specifically in competitive games, knowing when your forwards are pressing, that your defence has to step up and onto that halfway line, look to really pen back Chelsea. That's what let Villa down with this first goal, Dan, because Villa's forwards and the midfield committed to the press, but the sort of back 3, back 5 were sort of still camped in our own half, and that created about 40 yards of space for Kovacic to thread a wonderful ball through, which set Lukaku up. And I guess maybe through his time at Manchester United, knew Axel was going to lunge in, so calmly put it on his weaker right foot and slotted home under Jed Steer. Wonderful assist, wonderful goal. If I'm being massively critical, again, the defence have to step up, Dan. Axel, again, caught lacking. Very disappointing, but he's not really had too much game time. And against Romelu Lukaku, it's kind of difficult, isn't it? How do you mark a man who's quicker, faster, stronger than you? And I think, again, I don't want to beat the man while he's down, but Jed Steer has to come out so much earlier for this, doesn't he, Dan?
Yeah, it's the first goal. I mean, it was there wasn't really anybody that I could criticize too much, really. It's like Kovacic, what a player, again, so underrated in that Chelsea team. He's an absolutely wonderful midfielder. And that pass showcased it. I don't think you can blame Axel for assuming that Lukaku is going to take that on his stronger foot. It come across as him so nicely. Rom could have easily hit that. He's likely to score from that angle. You can't blame Axel for thinking that he's going to put it on his right. The fact that, Lukaku's got the knives to come inside and put it past Jed, you sort of just hold your hands up there. I think there's a moment in the midfield where perhaps Douglas, I mean, if I'm being really picky, I thought Douglas had a really good game yesterday, but perhaps he could have put a bit more pressure on the ball. But that is just me being very fussy, mate. And it's a shame where that was really all that Chelsea created for a long. I mean, we had sorry to take steal your thunder, mate, because this is usually your stat to bring up, but we had a greater expected goals than
there we go.
Than
it's
Chelsea.
Back on the
there
podcast,
we go.
Baby. Expected goals. It's been a while.
1.37 to 1.35. I'm coming around to it, mate.
There we go.
And Yeah, I mean that was the tail of the tape. But the problem is that, obviously when Tyrone goes and makes the mistake that he does in the second half, I don't want to say it's a killer blow, because look, I still think Chelsea would have come away victors in that game, regardless if Tyrone had done that. But no, my main takeaway, mate, and I think it's probably a topic that we need to talk about, is just that Tyrone, we're big fans of Tyrone Mings on this podcast, aren't we, mate?
Tyrone Mings filler. That's what it is.
It is. But he doesn't help himself, does he? There were so many moments where, like, Tyrone, like, we championed him for so long, and for so long he's been so steadfast, had a great Euros, he's come in, he's had a really promising start to the season. He was wearing the armband, felt like he was finally, there are some doubters in the Villa fan base, felt like he was finally starting to win them over. And then just when he was starting to get there, he goes and puts that pass back. And you're like, we're back at square one again now, aren't we?
Yeah. I think some things do have to be, like, taken into account when we're discussing Tyrone. One, when you compare him to Ezri Konsa, he's only played about 20 or 30 games, I believe, more than Konsa has, which is crazy because Ezri Konsa's 3 or 4 years younger than him. So I hate to be here and go, Tyrone is inexperienced, because he's an international player. He's kept 11 out of 12 clean sheets for his nation. And when it's mattered, he has been fantastic for Villa. He's been, imperious at times. But, I think a lack of experience, maybe a certain aspect of overconfidence as well, because I think it's difficult. I saw a few people criticising that's the way Villa defended in the build-up to that goal. But I think what you have to take into account is Tonzebe has possession of the ball and he's being hunted down by Romelu Lukaku. That's enough to strike fear into anyone's eyes. I don't care what anyone says. Tyrone is a lot closer than perhaps you would like your centre half to be in a back three. We were all kind of drawn into that to Villa's left hand side, which left a lot of space on the right. Didn't really seem to matter though. But Tyrone is there to offer support for Axel. Obviously, he receives the ball, but if Axel is dispossessed, there's then a double up on Lukaku, and that's how you have to defend against him. I'm sorry, there's nobody nobody knows how to sort of defend against this man. It's double up or nothing, and of course you're going to shoot yourself in the foot doing that elsewhere. Although on the whole, I feel like we did kind of marshal Lukaku quite well, but again, he wasn't really in the game too much. But in that position, back to goal, he's about to sort of sprint out with possession. Maybe you're going to want both Axel and Ty converging in on him, aren't you? Because how else are you going to stop him? You hope one of them can bring him down, get a bit of the ball. You maybe take a yellow card and a free kick. Obviously, it doesn't play out that way. Tyrone gets the ball, and you can't excuse the back pass. It's awful. A wonderful finish from Kovacic. It's frustrating, Dan, and it's something we always talk about, right? There's no middle ground with Ty, unfortunately. People either love him and are completely blinded by the mistakes he makes, which, if we're being honest, Dan, 1 every 2 games like that. Is that being fair? He makes them
more often than we'd like, mate.
Yeah, but then you've got people who completely discredit all of the fantastic work that Tyrone does. And, there was many times where he stepped out, intercepted the ball, 1 possession, got Villa back on the front foot against Chelsea. Of course, none of that matters when you sort of make a pass like that, but it's just frustrating. I think, again, perspective is needed sometimes. I don't know. It's just a frustrating one for me. Tyrone, of course we love you on the channel, but he knows he's dropped the ball there. And I think that's the most frustrating thing about the game as a whole, Dan, because sort of discounting the third goal, the 2 goals that the goal that sunk Villa is the second one, because we didn't really seem to recover. Both of these have come from Villa's own doing. The lack of cohesion with the press, and then the poor pass from Tyrone. Chelsea, I don't want to sit here and sound all bitter in that, but they didn't deserve 3-0, Dan. They just didn't.
No, absolutely, man. You mentioned the point earlier about Lukaku not being involved in the game. We had 31 touches in our opponent's box compared to their 18. But Lukaku, was he's very good at the hold play, and he's exceptional at that. We didn't really see that yesterday. It tells a similar story, I think, to Danny Ings. You know, like I was sat there and it was like sort of everyone was saying, like, Danny Ings hasn't done enough today. He's had a poor game. It's like, we haven't bought Danny Ings to be the focal point of the build-up play and the possession. That's Ollie Watkins' job. Dean has said for a long time he wants them to play in the two. So out of the two, that's going to link play up, be the spearhead, and sort of bring the wingers into play as Ollie does so well. That's his job. Danny Ings was brought in to do one thing and one thing only, as to score goals. When the chances come to him in the 18-yard box, it's his job to put the ball into the back of the net. It's not Danny Ings' job to be bringing in, you know, the guys in the wings, or as you like the case yesterday, like playing the 1-2s with Jacob Ramsey and stuff like that. That's not his game. The fact of the matter remains is that if the chance in the first half that Ollie had where he tried to round Bob Mandy, if that falls to Danny Ings, and this is no slander on Ollie, if that falls to Danny Ings, who's one of the better finishers in the Premier League, it's a goal.
Yeah.
It's a goal, absolutely, 100%. Danny, I don't think Ollie needed to take it around Mendy. There's a moment where he can definitely put it past him when he's squaring up to 1-on-1. I think Danny Ings takes that. And that's the difference between the two strikers, is that, you know, Danny Ings, don't expect Danny Ings to be having, you know, 30, 40 touches a game, a good pass completion rate, because it doesn't matter with players like that. And this is sort of it's a weird trend that you're seeing. I think I actually saw someone touch on this on TikTok, whereby I saw a debate, and it was like the classic Messi-Ronaldo debate. Messi fans on one side, Ronaldo fans on the other. And it was like, yeah, Ronaldo scored so many goals and assists, but look at Messi's match ratings. Messi's match ratings have always been better. And it's sort of like, yeah, but that's not what wins you games. Like, goals and assists in games, that's the most important metric in football. So with Danny Ings' performances, you have to just measure him by goals. Like and so it was a shame he got taken off yesterday, because I feel like whilst he wasn't involved as much, I don't think it's his job to be, really. I felt a little bit sorry for Danny. I think we didn't really give him the service, and it's just a shame that those kind of chances didn't fall to him, because I think we would have fared better in the game. But there were a lot of positive that, you know, Jacob Ramsey looks better with every game. He looks further and further embedded into this team. We had Duracell Bunny, Championship McGinn back in the team. The work that he did for the ball was like alien-like. I still think there's a little bit more he can be doing in possession, but we're definitely on our way to seeing the better side of McGinn. Thought Douglas had a good game for the most part. It was his 150th career league appearance yesterday, so big milestone for you, Dougie. There are a lot of positives. And of course, mate, I want to talk to you about Leon Bailey, because, God, I've never been so happy with a substitute performance that didn't score or get an assist in my life, mate. Oh, my God, mate.
Oh, Bailey.
When he led Marcos Alonso up that alleyway and spun him inside out, mate, honestly, I was such a happy man. It fills me with hope, mate, because when we've got Buendia back and Bailey and Ings and Watkins, it's like, with Bertrand's back fit as well now, it's like, my God, if we can get that 4 or 5, you know, with one off the bench or whatever, if we can get that working, mate, we're going to score goals for fun.
Mate, honestly, it's Bailey's wheelhouse, isn't it? He lives to make, you know, highlight reels and just make absolute mockeries of defenses. Like, he had no right doing that, mate. He had absolutely no right. He'd been on the pitch all of like 3 minutes, and as well, he absolutely sent Rudiger. You know, moments later with a little body feint, kind of fluffed up the pass afterwards, but that don't matter, because, you know, he made Rudiger look like an absolute amateur, and yeah, it's really exciting. You know, the break probably came at a good time for players like Bertie, players like for Bailey as well, get match fitness back, sharpness. Bertie looked so good when he came on as well. I'm sorry, the man is just, you know, too many people don't put enough respect on this man, and he's not going to get the sort of the game time that I feel he probably deserves, following last season's performances. I think just to the fact, you know, accommodating so many new players and stuff. You know, I will happily vouch for this man. I've been, again, fortunate enough to see him, you know, in the flesh on multiple occasions last season, and the guy just has it. You know, consistency is the issue, but Bertrand Traore, when he's fit and firing, man, what a player. So it just 100%. Kind of posed the question, though, Dan, how do Villa set up? Where do Villa go from here? I think 3-5-2, 5-3-2, however you want to look at it, is a very plausible sort of way Villa should set up maybe against the top sides. I think it's a good way that you can look to pin back the threats of the wing backs. And again, a lot of the time it is sort of done for damage limitation against these sides who are really going to dictate the play. But 4-4-2 again, it's not happening. When 4-4-2, we're not having that on the Villa Filler podcast. So it's who starts? Where do these players fit in? I really don't envy Dean for having to make these decisions, Dan, because again, we're without Emi Buendia or without Emi Martinez, who are both in Croatia. It's either Croatia or Cyprus, avoiding quarantine after the one of the biggest scandals in modern day football, Dan. They really came into Brazil with that McLovin energy, man. That's exactly how they landed. They literally went there with their Hawaiian driver's licenses and was like, "Yep, we played this game in Estonia." That's what someone said on Twitter. Whoever forged the papers, which was clearly the Argentinian footballing association, it wouldn't have been the players. It's not their responsibility to do all that. They just kind of turn up as and when they're told to. Someone said that the Villa game versus Brentford on Buendia and Martinez's papers was played in Estonia.
It's like, this is why,
and it took them 3 days to find these men.
People are like, I can't believe Emi's put that. And he's like, mate, do you think the Argentinian national team has stood at customs filling out paperwork? Do you think Lionel Messi's there? Like, you got a pen. They're not doing that. Like, this is not them that's filled it out. Literally,
it's like, as Drake says, customs just let them through. They don't even come on the plane when they land. That's how it's done with these guys. They're rolling high. They don't do any of this. But mate, a lot of stuff has happened. We've got a lot of games coming up thick and fast as well, Dan. A lot of away games. We're playing Chelsea again soon in the old Carabao. I was thinking the other day, I was so bored the other night, Dan. I ended up watching the Blues. I just really want to play them in the cup. I just do. I just want to play Blues.
It feels like there's a gulf between us at the moment, mate. Don't you think, with us and the Blues? Like, it feels like the gap is wider than it's been in the Blues are having an all right season, but it's like, the poor guys. Like, I almost feel sorry for them. I thought we saw yesterday the stadium flooded. I don't know if you saw these videos on Twitter, mate. And it was going around and there was like, these lads were just stood in the, I don't know what stand. I don't even know what the stands are called at Blues. I can't even lie. They were stood in a stand. Who knows if they even own it? They were just stood in this, and their feet, they were just like up to their ankles in water. And I was like, sweet Jesus, man, someone give these guys a break. Like,
guys are down bad.
Let's not it be Aston Villa, mate. Yeah, it's been too long since we played them. So yeah, it would be good fun.
Everton at home next as well in the league, 5:30 kickoff on the Saturday. But yeah, we've got some really tough games coming up, Dan. As I said, Chelsea follows Everton immediately. On the Wednesday, we then play United at home again on the Saturday the 25th, followed by Tottenham away. Sorry, I'm coughing here. I have this awful cough that I've got. And then Wolves at home, and then we've got a relatively easy fixture following that away to Arsenal at the Emirates. Sorry, I'm bloody awful. But no, with players coming back, it's all happening at a good time, Dan. And there's not as much time between these fixtures as we'd like, but maybe that would hopefully see a nice bit of rotation in the squad, get some people getting some minutes again. As you said, Dan, Jacob Ramsey was absolutely fantastic. These guys all need to get match fitness, match sharpness, the likes of Traore, Bailey, and co. So it's going to be good to see them play over the next coming weeks, Dan, isn't it? It's exciting. It's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure, mate. There's a lot to look forward to, and look, I think I'm looking forward to get back to Villa Park. I think it would be nice to come home after that. I think we need a win, don't we? Need a win.
Yeah.
In that game, that would go a long way, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then it does get a little bit tough after that, mate. It does get a little bit tough, but I want to see us go toe to toe with these big teams and come away with a bit more show for it next time. So yeah, we'll see what happens, mate.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. So if you guys did enjoy this podcast, let us know by hitting the like button and commenting your thoughts below. Don't forget, when we hit 5,000 subscribers, we will be giving away an Aston Villa shirt. So make sure, if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed, that you subscribe. I think you should. I think we're about 350 subscribers away, Dan. So I'd say it's definitely doable before Christmas time. So guys, as I said, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more content. Up the Villa.